Uh, that one is my 1 week friend. So, all right. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Smart Moves. In this episode today, we're just going to be kind of giving our thoughts on the cards that have been revealed today and yesterday. So we've got the stuff from the card reveal on the 26th, and then a few things from the community reveals today. My name is Setsuko, joined as always by my co-host Slicky. And we're just going to jump right in and get started. Try not to take 7 hours. We're prone to do.
Let's try and do 1 hour. It'll be tough.
14 cards, I think we could do faster than that. So we're going to start with neutral, then we'll go by class in alphabetical order. So first up is the Muk Hunter. All right. So this is a 5-mana 5/8 neutral card. Has Rush and Battle Cry. Summon 2/1 Mucklings for your opponent. So this was not a Hunter card, as I believe we may have guessed.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the guesses. Did you write those down?
I didn't write them down, but I have a rough idea of what we did. I like the artwork. This would be amazing if they change it to a 4 cost, maybe lower the stats a little. I keep looking for things to use in my Recruit Druid in this expansion, and there ain't shit right now anyway. So, what do you think?
I think it's good.
Yeah.
I think it's good against especially like aggro and zoo decks, because they're probably going to try to go wide with the board anyways. So for you to just be able to drop something when they probably already have a full board that doesn't really have a downside and be able to trade with their stuff. Yeah, because the Mucklings, like I said, if they have a full board, then you're just getting a 5/8 out on turn 5 for no good reason. You don't want them to have a full board, but if they do, it's just extra value.
So I have found through playing my Recruit Druid and having Hungry Dragon in it that most of the time, if I have Hungry Dragon in my hand and I'm not cheating it out, then I will play it when I know I'm in a situation to clear whatever it spawns. So I've got a Swipe that I can pair with the Hungry Dragon, or a Wrath, or my Hero Power, or something like that. So I think that if you use this in a kind of similar way, where you're just dropping a big body that's going to clear something on their board, and maybe you have like a Arcane Explosion. Why would you have that random card generation? I guess in your hand, then this can make a pretty good combo. I don't know. It's good stat lines for the price, and Rush is pretty good. So I think the 2/1s, not too bad. And I mean, if nothing else, you trade into a 2/1, and now you got a 5-mana 5/6 on the board.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I guess it kind of depends on what the archetypes are as to how good this card's going to be. Because, if they do have something, if they are running like maybe a faster deck that's going all phase, you might not want to give them 2/1s.
Right.
But then maybe if they're doing a slower deck, I don't know, maybe you just want the 5/6 on board.
If I like the stat line. Outside of that, I don't know that this is overpowered enough to see play anywhere.
Maybe in that Warlock deck where they run Treachery, and they also run that little demon guy where every time you summon a minion, it does 5 damage to your own face. You play that guy, then you play Treachery, then then you coin out Muk Hunter, and it does 10 damage to their face, right?
Sure.
And then you play Leroy Jenkins. So total, that's 5 plus 6 plus 20. That's 31 damage. That's a 2-turn kill right there. Maybe 3. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think it's good.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not overly impressed. So, but talking about this next card,
I'm also not really impressed.
Nightmare Amalgam. This is a 3-mana 3/4, and it is an it counts as an elemental, mech, demon, murloc, dragon, beast, pirate, and totem. So it counts as all the tribes you could possibly want for now, assuming they don't come up with any new ones. Um, so it's got spider tank stats, which used to be pretty good. Still not too horrible on a 3-drop. Counts as everything. So I think this has some potential, right? It's got the ability to let you have whatever synergy trigger you need, but it also is basically just a vanilla minion and gets countered by everything, by crabs, by the dragon woman from Kobolds and Catacombs, um, everything. It gets countered by anything. So I don't know. The only place that I could see this being played is in a situation where maybe in standard you just don't have enough triggers for something, like you need a card that says if you're holding a dragon, and you're like, well, I just can't get enough dragons in my deck to make this consistent, so you put this guy in and say he's just there as a trigger, and maybe you play him out and he's a vanilla 3/4, but he does get punished by just about every single tribe specific you know tech card that there is available. He survives Dragonfire Potion in Wild, though. That's great, right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think the trigger thing's a big thing. I don't play Priest right now, but I can imagine that if you're playing Priest and you've got, let's say you got 2 Draconid operatives or you have a Draconid operative in your hand and you have a Dustbreaker in your hand, and you're like, well, I want to play one of these, but if I do, then I'm not going to have a trigger for the other. You could just hold Nightmare Amalgam in your hand and just be like, I'm going to have a trigger for everything, always.
Yeah.
And that would be really cool. But I think...
Oh, go ahead.
I think it's not... I don't think you really have to worry about Dragon Slayer a lot, because why would you kill a 3/4 when you could kill a 5/6 or a 4/10 and deal some damage to it? So I'm not that worried about that. It would be a huge Murloc, though. That's a big Murloc.
Yeah.
But aside from that, yeah, I think it's pretty low on the priority list of using tech cards to kill. So
yeah, I agree, and that's why I think maybe it'll see some play just for the trigger. I will say it's kind of annoying that this counts as a mech but has the same stat line as a spider tank. Like, come on. Mechs, I think out of everything on here, mechs are probably one of the most underrepresented things, maybe mechs and totems. And so for them to put this out and it have the exact same stat line as spider tank, but then again, they haven't been printing a lot of mechs, and they pretend to care about Wild. So
I'm sure they went through a lot of iterations to try to figure out the best way to not make this overpowered. One thing that I think is really cool, and just I've heard whispers, and I think we've talked about some cards that have the word totem in them. Like maybe they're going to make totems more powerful. There's like Totem Cruncher or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
So I think some of the synergy you could do with Totem, like this card might actually make Totem Shaman viable. Totemic Might on a 3/6, that's a 0-cost buff 2 health to a minion. That's already pretty big. You could do you could also use that Primal Fusion with it, which makes it more powerful. Thunderbluff Valiant and Wild on this would be insane. So I think there are some pretty cool things you could do with totems, even though nobody's going to do it. You could. So it would make some of the weaker tribes stronger, and some of the stronger tribes a little bit weaker. I'm just imagining Netherspite Historian and then being like, oh, God damn it. What the hell? Nightmare Amalgam?
Yep.
I think that's another thing that they probably wanted to do, is they wanted to dilute some of that stuff. Mm-hmm. Like how whatever Lynessa Sunsorrow she's a 7 cost minion. So now, anytime you get a 7 cost minion from some random effect, you have a chance of it being a 1/1. So maybe Nightmare Amalgam's also kind of like that, where you don't just constantly pick up busted cards from Bone Drake or Netherspite Historian, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it. Yeah, it might have some uses on shoring up some of the weaker tribes and just giving them more triggers and things to work with.
And making the stronger tribes a little weaker.
Yeah. So next up we have Rotten Applebaum. This is a 5 mana 4/5 taunt. Death Rattle, restore 4 health to your hero.
Seems okay.
Yeah, I like it. I don't think it's overwhelmingly amazing, but I do like it. It's another way to, like, I look at this, and one of the first things I think well, I obviously think of Taunt Warrior, right, because that's a deck I play, and I also think of Rogue, because I'm always looking for ways to heal my face in Rogue, and this protects my face and heals my face, and probably doesn't work with any deck that I'd want to make in Rogue. But those are the first two things that popped into my head, and I went, yeah, this is potentially useful in both of those, like maybe. So that makes it not horrible, I guess.
Yeah. I don't think it'll see that much play in Standard just because Zoth is rotating out, and I don't see this having that much use outside of Zoth.
I think this is good in the
Aethernox Druid.
No, in the Warlock deck, where all they do is drop taunts until they can drop Rin and then destroy your deck. Like, this is another annoying taunt that gets in your way and heals them, so they can keep tapping to get their combo off and all that.
Isn't Mistress rotating out?
Mistress of Mixtures, yes.
So that's probably part of why they did it.
Yeah.
And it's not as overpowered as Mistress is, so that's probably part of it.
Yeah, I could see this there. That's what I thought of, like, outside of the decks that I mess with. I thought about that. I was like, oh, this is annoying. Another annoying taunt that they can drop that will also heal their face.
Yeah, and like you're saying with Rogue, you could cheat it out a couple of different ways. Like one of my favorite cards from the latest expansion, the 4-mana 1/1 or 4-mana 3/3 that pulls a card out of your hand.
Yeah.
Just putting a 1/1 taunt that heals your face out of your hand for free would be awesome.
Yep.
So.
All right, getting into the Druid cards, we have Whispering Woods. This is a 4-mana spell. Summon a 1/1 Wisp for each card in your hand.
I don't really like this card.
I don't either. They mentioned, so this was revealed on the stream. They weren't actually playing games; they were just showcasing cards. And Peter Whalen mentioned that they were kind of trying a sort of hand druid type thing, and I just kind of said, ew? Like, why? And, this card was part of what played into it, as well as the next card that we're going to look at. And, but I wanted to get this one because this is the payoff for having a lot of cards in your hand. As far as what we've seen so far. Summon a 1/1 Wisp for each card in your hand, and the joke that they made is this could be a 4-mana 7/7. And I'm really struggling to see the scenario where you play this card and it gets a lot of value, right? In Standard, Mark of the Lotus is going away. So, you could use this on turn 5, like Whispering Woods, Mark of the Lotus, but not in Standard. That's going away. And then what do you have? You have 7 2/2s on board. That still dies to all kinds of easy AoE. They don't have Taunt. They don't have Rush. They don't have Charge. So, I don't know. I feel like Token Druid has already got ways to get things on the board, and those things are better. And also, if that's the kind of Druid that you're playing, then you can't afford to not play cards, right?
Right.
So they've got to show off some other cards from this expansion for this to make sense, I think.
Yeah, I don't really get it. I don't think of Druid as ever being a card that intentionally holds cards. I play I play a lot of Quest Druid, which you could say is just kind of a version of Big Druid, and you're using Nourish for the ramp. Um, you really rarely want to draw cards until after you get the quest off. But even then, once you have the quest off, you have so much mana. Why would you play a bunch of wisps when you could play big things? Or if you're ramping, why would you play a bunch of wisps when you
Right.
could
Why
play
would,
big things?
why would you ramp into wisps? Well, and
Why?
this made me think of Freeze Shaman, is what it made me think of. Like,
Yeah,
oh, this is some weird shit that they're trying to put in for this expansion that isn't going to have enough support and probably won't pan out for several expansions or may never pan out.
it kind of reminds me of Pilfered Power, a card that I really liked in theory, but I could never get it to work
Which one was
because you
that?
have to. It was for every minion you have on the board, gain a mana crystal,
Oh,
and
right.
it
Yeah, okay.
costed 3 mana. And the thing was, like, if you're trying to ramp, you're not trying to play a bunch of early minions, and if you're playing a bunch of early minions, you're not trying to ramp. So when do you ever actually play the card?
Right.
And I feel like this card suffers from all of those same problems. When are you drawing a bunch of cards and then you just want to play a bunch of 1/1s? Like, when are you going to have enough mana? Are you going to play Nourish for a card draw and then you're going to have 4 mana left over on turn 9 to play out, what, 7 wisps?
Right.
Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you do that? Why would you not use 4 mana for I don't know, more card draw from branching paths or armor or a 3/6 golem?
Yep.
And you're also saying in that situation that you don't have anything on board. Why would you not have anything on board when you have 9 mana crystals? There are just so many questions I have with this card. Like, why would you play this?
Yeah, that's why I say they have to reveal more to support this. Or yeah, it's gonna be Freeze Shaman where like maybe theoretically it's cool, but it doesn't work out. And that takes us to the next card, which is also a druid card. This is Witchwood Apple. It's a 2 mana spell. Add 3/2/2 treants to your hand.
I kind of like this card. Okay, I think it's okay.
I hate this card. I think this card is awful. I mean, unless there's some major support for this hand druid thing, like why the hell would you want to pay 8 mana to get 3/2/2s onto the board?
A big problem that a lot of aggro druid people run into is you just run out of cards because you don't run nourish and stuff. So being able to just have 3 minions you can play from one card is actually kind of sweet. But Whispering Woods wouldn't work in that deck because you wouldn't have any cards in your hand. So I feel
Right.
like, and then a lot of paladins are running Dry Gulch Jailer, which gives them 3 tokens. Now, with that, you have synergy, and
Yeah,
with this,
a lot more synergy.
yeah, you don't have synergy with this, but maybe there's some new kind of, AOE buff that they're going to reveal that
Well,
works.
we're in the Witchwood, so maybe there will be some spooky treant synergy stuff. But
I like it's tricky though, like because it's not a tribe. How are you gonna? I mean, I guess you can do Silverhand Recruit, so I guess you can do Trinas too.
yeah. And why wouldn't you just play Force of Nature?
Um, you could, but if you're trying to do the hand synergy, maybe you don't want.
Right. Right. The
Maybe you
hand
don't
synergy.
want 3 tokens. Actually, and then also maybe you get this on turn 2, and you play it on turn 2. Every turn after that, you have a minion to play. Whereas Force of Nature, you have to have 5 mana that turn to play that card. Maybe you want to do it piecemeal.
Well, if you had this on turn 2 and you played it and you were playing it in a Gen Grey main deck, Then turn 3, you could play a Treant and use your hero power.
Yeah.
That sounds exciting.
Just because it's not exciting doesn't mean it's not
No,
good.
I know, but that's the thing. Like, we get hyped about the expansion, and yeah. Anyway, we'll move on to Hunter. I think we got 2 cards here. So the first one up is Houndmaster Shaw, and this is one of the Hunter legendaries. It's a 4-mana, 3/6, and it says your other minions have Rush.
I like this card.
I sort of like this card.
I think, Tundra Rhino, first of all, is more expensive, and you have to use Beast.
And it has a
Hunt's
worse
always
stat line.
been a Beast class. This is like Fandral, I think, in the sense where if it sticks, you're probably just going to win. And I also like that they did Spell Hunter in the last expansion, and then they're just switching. Like, right now, they're saying, like, okay, we can go minions now. You can do all the minion stuff you want. I like that aspect of it, too. And I think all of your minions having Rush just means that you're going to own the board if this sticks for 1 turn or more. I think. So, and also it synergizes the Spellstone. Drop this on 4, play Spellstone on 5, and clean up.
I think overall it's a good card because it forces removal. And that in itself is pretty good. And also the stat line is pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
Because it should kill just about any 3-drop that gets put out. It should survive any other 4-drop, really. And yeah, it does. It might as well have taunt.
Yeah.
So a 4-mana 3/6 taunt that says your other minions have Rush. Like, it's pretty good. And I also like leaning away from the Beast synergies for Hunter. I played a lot of Hunter when I first started playing Hearthstone. I played a lot of Hunter, a lot of Mage. Because the Hunter decks are easy to make when you don't have a lot of resources, but I think as you play them, you start to really get sick of everything being beast. So I like the idea of using this to do different things. Also, I thought about this in the Cheetah Beast deck. This could be pretty interesting in there as well if you're able to recruit out some beasts. And then they have Rush as soon as they come out. That could be pretty sick.
Yeah.
So.
You could do it with Death Rattles. You could just be like, hey, I'm just going to skip having a minion and just go straight to the Death Rattle. That'd be pretty cool. You could play it in tandem with, like, turn 10, you could play it with Savannah Highmane. Just go ahead and kill something big, then kill 2 smaller things with your... same kind of thing you do with Tundra Rhino, but you can play it on the same turn. Your Hyenas attack stuff. There's all kinds of, I think, cool things you could do with this. Plus, with the Death Knight, all of your giant beasts being able to just clean up the board, you could just make poison minion after poison minion after poison minion and just be like, no, you don't get a board. I keep the board, you don't get a board. My board.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think it has potential for sure. The next Hunter card is the Hunting Mastiff. 2-mana, 2/1 beast. Echo Rush. So
I like this.
Rush, it can immediately attack other minions. Echo, you can play as many of them as you're able to in a turn, based on how much mana you have. So I'm on the fence about this one.
Yeah, my first thought is Unleash the Hounds.
Right.
It's like a cheaper, slightly not as good version of this. But all the synergies that work with Unleash the Hounds would also work with this. So if you had Leok out or something, then instead of having 2/2s, you have 3/3s. I feel like this works more in a kind of longer game Hunter, which I could also see the Houndmaster guy working with. When you're kind of planning for, like, more like turn 8, turn 10 wins instead of turn 4, turn 5.
Mm-hmm.
If they're encouraging Rush then I assume that they're kind of trying to get Hunter to be more of a control archetype than they are a face archetype because they're not charged, they're rush.
And they did say that they wanted Hunter and Warrior to be very rush focused.
Which I feel like means control focus.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I don't see where this card really fits in. It probably fits into a Hunter I don't play, which is just like a regular face Hunter.
Starving Buzzard. Bam. Come on.
Yeah, if you're putting that in your deck, I don't I don't know what rank you're at.
Is Starving Buzzard summon or is it play? Because if it's play, that is a lot of card draw.
I don't remember because it got nerfed years ago.
I got nerfed so hard.
It was really good. It was really good before then, but pretty trash after that. So
It's like a 3/2 5 mana minion now.
yeah,
Pretty bad.
It's horrible. Next up, we have Rebuke. This is a paladin spell, 2 mana. Enemy spells cost 5 more next turn. So it's Loatheb without the body for 3 less mana. And people are losing their minds over this card. And
Yeah.
I am not as thrilled about it as I think a lot of people are.
Well, people are arguing about it. You've got like 70% of people saying, "Oh, this card's broken," and 30% saying, "You're wrong. This card's not broken." I think it's in the middle. I think it's really good. I don't think it's broken. I think it's really good though.
I think it's okay.
The thing is, if you have the board and then you play Rebuke, your opponent is basically just dropping their minions into a pit of piranhas. They can't just clear your board.
Duskbreaker.
Well, yeah, there is Duskbreaker, so that's one class that's got a hard counter.
Or you just spend the mana.
Okay, so you're gonna do what? You're gonna do a 10 mana Holy Nova, just lose your entire turn. You're gonna do a 9 mana Consecration, lose your entire turn. You're gonna do shit. You can't even play most of the other AOE's. You could do Volcanic Potion, spend 8 mana, lose your entire turn. You can't clear the board. So
Yeah.
I think it's good.
Yeah. I want to see. I'm not.
I think this is one of those skill testing cards. You can't just drop it and win the game. You need to know when to play it,
Right.
like Evasion.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be very meta dependent. Because I feel like if this card enters the meta, then control decks are going to know that it's in the meta, and that's the other skill test. Like, you learn what people are setting up for and when to counter it. And I mean, if your board gets cleared the turn before you would have played Rebuke, it's a dead card, pretty much.
Yeah, but it's also so cheap you might be able to refill your board.
That's
You
true.
could play this with Stand Against Darkness or something.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we'll see. I definitely don't think it's weak. I don't think it's weak. I want to clarify that. I don't think it's weak. I think I'm in the camp of people saying, we'll have to see if it's like OP enough to, make it into those top tier decks. So
I think it will probably see a lot of play in competitions.
like
Because I feel like
tournaments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like those people know when to use it.
Yeah.
They'll be like, "Oh, this is your only option. You can't play it now."
Yeah, I agree. I think high skill level people will probably do fairly well with it.
Yeah.
So next up we have Vivid Nightmare. This is a 3 mana priest spell. Choose a friendly minion, summon a copy of it with 1 health remaining. So it does summon as a damaged minion, meaning you can heal it. And if I'm being super honest here, I don't really play Priest enough to know if this card is really good or not. It seems... Yeah, I really don't. Like, I can obviously see, like, okay, you play this on Ysera, or you play it on the Taunt, the Obsidian statue, or, like, there's some good value minions you could play this on. But I'm pretty sure Priest already has some ways to do that, and I don't know if this is the way they want to do it. So, yeah, you play way more Priest than me, so what do you think?
I don't understand why this is a card. There's already, what is it? Shadow something. It's a 3-mana 2/3 that summons a 1/1 copy of a you already have on the board. So I don't know if that card's rotating out, and they just wanted to put something like this in so Standard could have it.
Well, the thing is, the attack stays the same.
That's true.
So if you had a Leroy,
yeah, you could
Vivid Nightmare to Leroy.
If I'm playing against a Priest that's playing Leroy Vivid Nightmare, then just kill me now, because I don't want to live in that meta. That sounds terrible. I don't want to ever deal with that.
So that's a possibility. Then they could heal him for 1 health.
I don't know why they would. Yeah, it keeps the attack. That seems to be the only really big upside that I can see.
Maybe if you have a Rush minion and you Vivid Nightmare the Rush minion so that you can trade the copy and keep the original.
Yeah.
But
it could be something like that.
But the thing is that going to be strong enough to make it into a top tier Priest deck, in either format? I don't think so.
No. I mean, I think you do too. We play a lot of meme cards.
Yeah.
I play Ixalan a lot, and Ixalan's actually seen a lot of play in some of the, Mimi or Druid decks. But I play it with Blood of the Ancient One, and it's pretty solid. So I think Vivid Nightmare has its place, but you really have to be willing to play the meme decks.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to try this weird win condition for it to work, and I don't think people will. So, unless, like you said, Leroy, because that's a pretty good combo. 9 mana, 2 card, 12 damage. It's not bad. I mean, but they already have Divine Spirit, Inner Fire, so.
Right. They already have their combos.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have a Shaman card, Witch's Apprentice. This is a 1-mana 0/1 beast taunt with Battle Cry. Add a random Shaman spell to your hand. I really like this card.
Yes, it's a good card.
It doesn't have Overload. It gives you random stuff, which I'm always a fan of. The artwork is cool. It's a mini taunt. Yeah, I just like it all around. I don't think it's like overpowered or anything. It's the babbling book swashbuckler, equivalent for Shaman, and yeah, that's cool to have.
Yeah, I think having just a 1-mana 0/1 taunt in itself is pretty good. I mean, obviously there are better 1-mana taunts, but you're getting a spell with it.
Yeah,
so that's pretty
I think
cool.
the spell makes a difference because if you remember Wax Elemental from Kobolds and Catacombs.
Some people play Wax Elemental.
Yeah, I know. It's a 1-mana 0/2 with Divine Shield.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is a 1-mana 0/1. Gives you a spell.
Yeah,
So.
The big complaint I've seen is you can get Totemic Might or one of the other spells that doesn't really do much for, Cryostasis. Cryostasis would actually be pretty good with this guy, though. Then you'd have a 3/4 taunt. Be pretty good. So, but yeah, I mean, it could give you a kind of useless spell. Primal Fusion.
And that is the general problem I think with Shamans overall, is there's a lot more just kind of whiff spells where if you get them randomly, you're just like, I can't do anything with this.
Yeah.
So. Well, next up, we've got a couple legendaries. Warlock legendary, Lord Godfrey. 7-mana 4/4. Battle Cry. Deal 2 damage to all other minions. If any die, repeat this Battle Cry. Like that rhyme?
Oh, I didn't even notice.
So, okay, first off, he's not a freaking warlock. Like,
He's got
that's.
guns. They're magic guns.
No, he's known for using guns. He's like a rogue hunter guy. But for some reason, he's a freaking warlock
If
legendary.
you look at the little Venn diagram of rogues and hunters, right in the middle there, that's warlock.
Warlock,
Did you
okay.
not know?
Yeah. So that's bullshit. And this guy is basically a souped up defile with a body,
Yes.
which that just seems pretty strong.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very powerful card. And I think the general consensus that I saw is that if you decide to play odd warlock, which I was contending could be a thing in the last video we made,
Yeah.
this is pretty much your only board clear. You don't get Defile, you don't get Twisting Nether, you don't get Doom, you don't get Hellfire. You get Lord Godfrey. Lord Godfrey's good though. I mean, he's a super solid card. I don't think Warlock needs it.
Consider this. All right. You play a normal fucking warlock, and you get all that shit and this. And no one ever has a board. Nobody. Not you, not your opponent. Nobody.
Everybody just throws all their cards in the trash. No, I don't think that this would actually see a lot of play in Q block or control lock. I don't feel like there's a reason to put this in there. It would, like, you already have so many clears. Why would you put another one in there? If you play it on turn 7, because you can't cheat it out because it's not a demon and you can't get its battle cry that way anyways. Like, by turn 7, you already have a Void Lord on board. You don't want to blow up the entire board. This would kill your Void Lord, and it'd kill all your Void Walkers.
Turn 5, Ticking Abomination. Turn 6, Ticking Abomination. Turn 7, Lord Godfrey.
How do you kill your Ticking Abominations?
With Lord Godfrey. He does the damage to other minions. I don't know. Your opponent will have done some damage to him, I'm assuming, because, why would you be playing those?
I think it's a good card. I just don't think it's necessary.
No, I don't know why Warlock got this. I mean, sure, they got it for odd Warlock. But seems pretty solid.
Yep.
So we also got to see the other Warlock legendary, Glinda Crowskin. 6 mana, 3/7. So
solid stats.
Horrible stats. Text reads, minions in your hand have echo.
Yes. I think that there's a combo here that I'm not really seeing. I like it though. I think it's a fun card.
You play the little demon guy. The 3/2. Does 3 to your face.
Yeah, you can do like 10 damage to your face.
10. You play this, and then you
damage.
play 4 of those.
Dude, just wait till the next turn and do 30 damage to your face.
So this might as well have taunt on it as well. I mean, what if you drop this thing on turn 10 and then you just put like 4 Void Lords or 4 Void Walkers down?
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, I think there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with it that, like I said, I don't see it. There's something there, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think I need to see the rest of the set. Also, I generally don't like these kind of weird combo-y decks anyway, so I probably wouldn't be the one to figure it out.
People are talking about comboing this with Summoning Portal, but then you're talking about like a 4-card combo or some nonsense,
right?
Which just seems like a lot of investment.
And then your opponent's going to let you do it. It reminds me of the Togwaggle theories where they're like, you could do this and this and this. And it's like, why?
Yeah.
And why would your opponent let you?
I guess you could do like you could do like Stone Tusk Boars, just do 10 damage to face. That wouldn't be bad. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, you would definitely have to do it with a cheap minion, but I'm sure that there are some cheap minions that are really cool. You put this with put it with Rogue. Rogue steals this off of Hallucination. Imagine some of the broken stuff you could do. And you do like prep, coin, prep, Edwin Van Cleef, Edwin Van Cleef, Edwin Van Cleef. That would be awesome.
Yeah, be some sick stuff there.
But
So
yeah, as a Warlock card, I'm not sure exactly how you use it.
yeah, me either. Next up, we got a warrior card, the Red Band Wasp. 2 mana 3/2 rush. Has +3 attack while damaged, and it's a beast.
Not in rage. +3 attack.
That's right. Okay, so you play this. Let's say you play this on turn 2. You're trading into a 1/3 against Priest. So go you. Now you have a 3/2. You have a Bloodfin Raptor.
No, I don't think it's very good because Warbot. I really wanted to make. I thought Warbot was good when I first started playing. Warbot was terrible.
It was good in GVG.
What is it? A 1/3 that turns into a 2/2?
Yeah, it was pretty decent in GVG, actually. There weren't a lot of crazy 1-drops around. And you also got to remember, like, going back expansions, like the health versus attack ratio of different cards was a lot lower. So, yeah, Warbot was pretty good with Next Energies and things like that.
What are you drinking?
It's a Sprite Zero Cranberry.
I thought you were actually drinking an alcoholic beverage for once. I was confused. No,
No alcohol, no sugar.
I think that this card would be good in another class, but I think it's bad in this one. You saw me playing a Paladin deck, I think, recently, where I like put. I don't think it was Redemption, but it was one of those revive this minion when it dies kind of spells. And I played it on like that 3/2 that has charge and lifesteal. And I ran it into something and it died, then it came back and I ran it into something else. And if you could do something like that with this, like make it to where it revives when it dies and it comes back as a 4/1 that also has rush, that would be really cool. But just as a 1/3 with rush, like what are you killing that has 1 health? Everybody is on this boat now where if you don't have more than 2 health on any minion, then you're not playing right.
Right.
So I don't think you can really do much with just a 1 attack into something.
And yeah, I guess right. It'd be a 4/2 if you ran it into something that you could actually kill, or something along those lines. But yeah, I don't know.
I guess though, if you did that, it would kind of demand removal because after that, it can just start going face. I mean, a turn 2 4/2 is not bad.
That's true. But if you can't clear what they put down, then they can bump into that as well. So I think it depends on what the other strong, or what the strong 1 or 2 drops are, whether or not this would see any sort of play. So the final card we have, the one that everyone was waiting for, is the Shaman Hero, Hagatha the Witch.
I got.
So it's a 8-cost hero, gives you the 5 armor like usual. The battle cry is Hellfire. It's deal 3 damage to all minions. And then her power is a passive hero power that anytime you play a minion, you gain a random shaman spell. So my first question, is this what you were hoping for?
Is it what I was looking for?
Is it like, did they reveal this and you went, yes, that was, yes?
No, this doesn't hit enough of my buttons, but that's not to say I don't like it. I like it.
I'm having a hard time seeing the scenario where I play this on turn 8 and I'm not getting my ass kicked, and then I'm able to play a bunch of minions. Like, Echo works great with this, right? Um, but I'm really having a hard time seeing like where do I get the value out of this. Also, we just mentioned earlier that random shaman spells can be really hit or miss. Like if this was a mage hero, holy crap. It's like, okay, I play a fire elemental and it gives me a fireball. I play a fire elemental, it gives me a pyroblast. I play a fire elemental or a babbling book and I get a flame strike. You're like, whoa. But with shaman, there's a lot more variance in the quality of the card in terms of you wanting to play it in any given scenario, on top of the fact that there's a ton of overload on shaman cards too. So I don't think this is bad by any means. I think it'd be interesting to mess with. I definitely would build a deck around it if I got it out of a pack, but I currently, with the cards we've seen so far, am having a hard time kind of envisioning a fun deck that I'd want to play this in. So, correct me.
I'm not going to correct you. Something that I've noticed is a lot of times people have these preconceptions about cards before they come out. And Team 5 will always, well, not always, but a lot of times they'll give their opinion about a card before it comes out. And when people see it, they'll be like, oh, that's a stupid card. But normally Team 5 ends up being right. If they say something's OP, it's probably OP. Right. Like Lyra the Sun Shard or Anduin. What was the other one? Yeah, so anyways, a lot of times it just happens that the cards they say are OP turn out to be OP, and the ones that are not turn out not to be. And they said this card was OP. So I assume it's really strong. The main scenario I'm seeing you play this with is you're playing like a largely removal-based shaman. You just keep blowing up the board and blowing up the board, because that's one thing shaman does really well. They've got Devolve, Volcano, Lightning Storm, and then this blows up the board again. And then after that, you're just like, okay, I'm going to start building a board now. And every time they drop something, you're like, oh, well, guess what? I've got this spell from Hagatha. It can give you more Bloodlust, maybe. Maybe that's what you want, Bloodlust. And you're playing your Flame Elementals. This would go really well in an Elemental deck because they can generate more Elementals. And so you're just creating more of a board, and you keep blowing up their side of the board, and you're just late game, you're eking out a lot of value after they've already used up all of their resources. That's kind of the scenario I see this in. a very long game control style shaman.
Yeah, and I still want to make a nice elemental deck. And yeah, I don't think this is bad at all. I like the hero power better than the totem. And I think I like it better than Thrall. I like Thrall's battle cry better. But I like this hero power. Yeah, because that is the thing. Like, it's one thing to figure out, okay, what kind of deck does this go in? But once you have that figured out, every card you play is giving you a spell. Like, every minion you're playing is also giving you a spell. So you literally could just add that text to everything you play. Like, oh, here's the fire elemental. Deal 3 damage and give yourself a random spell. Like, okay. And we've seen before that almost any card that generates more cards, especially if those cards are spells, is just damn good.
Yes.
Like, so that's what I'm saying. I'm saying not that I don't think this is strong, not that I don't think that it's really good, just I'm trying to figure out, okay, well, what's the deck that makes this work? Once it makes it work, holy shit, it's going to be great. And I think I honestly think that, we've seen about 20% of this set. So we still have, another over 100 cards to see. And I think that those cards are going to be the ones that make this. I mean, because if you have a cheap Echo, like you have a 2-cost, Echo Shaman card or neutral card, and that's in your hand after you play Hagatha, and you're just like, hey, all right, I'm going to get, 4 spells and put 4 minions on the board. Even if they're just vanilla stat minions, you still got 4 spells with 1 card.
Yeah.
And that Echo plus Hagatha is pretty disgusting.
Yeah. The only thing that I'm kind of worried about here is I've been trying to run a Shaman deck a lot lately, and one thing Shaman doesn't have is card draw.
Right.
So it's really a lot easier to make the decks that people normally make with Shaman that are these kind of faster, I'm going to play all my stuff, and then I'm going to use Bloodlust to kill you, because they can't do that and then reload like a Paladin can. Like, once you clear their board a couple times, that's normally about it. There's not really a lot of ways. All they have is Mana Tide Totem. That's about the only card draw that Shaman has in Standard.
And they have Ancestral Knowledge.
Ancestral Knowledge is only in Wild.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So there's not really any card draw. So staying alive until turn 8 might be kind of challenging, because the deck I'm running has a lot of removal, but a lot of times you'll end up with 2 or 3 cards in your hand because you're constantly trying to blow up the board, but you're not getting anything to stick because you're blowing up the board. So it seems to me like it would be challenging, but maybe there's a tempo archetype that's out there for Shaman, but right now I feel like they really don't have it. That's one of the reasons why Shaman isn't around, because all of these other classes have gotten these really powerful tempo cards like Call to Arms, or I think it's Shadow Ascendant is the name of the card, the 2/2 in Priest that buffs everything by +1/+1. They have Cabal Talon Priest. Warlock has Cobalt Librarian, which isn't super powerful, but then, turn 5 they're getting out Doom Guards. So I guess what I'm saying is it's just hard for Shaman to keep up with the other tempo decks. So it's really hard to kind of blend. I'm playing minions and I'm playing spells and I'm going to last until turn 8 without any card draw.
Right.
So that's the only problem. And with a deck like this, you probably wouldn't want a lot of card draw because you're going to be generating so many spells.
Yeah.
So I'm just having trouble kind of parsing exactly how you're going to build this deck, because you can't have it.
I mean, if you've got the Witch's Apprentice in there, and you can get a couple of those out early. It's not card draw, but it generates a couple extra cards for you. Maybe if there's other things that could fill your hand like that, or like I said, we have over 100 cards left. So I have a feeling they'll add some sort of card draw for Shaman.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's the biggest thing, is they just need something to keep tempo in the early game before that they can win. They have Flame Tongue Totem, which is really solid if you can get it out and you can get it to stick. But if you can't, then you're probably going to lose.
Yeah. So what do you think so far? We've got, I think, 27 cards revealed. And, what's your... impression, your excitement level? Like, what do you think of what's been released and shown off so far? Because typically by this time we've seen a good chunk of what's going to be exciting, what's going to be the highlights, the theme of the upcoming expansion. There's obviously a ton more cards to be revealed, so that's gonna change your excitement as we go through. But now at this point, what do you think?
I haven't seen anything that's going to make me bust a nut yet.
I was going to say that I am whelmed. I'm not overwhelmed by how awesome this stuff is. I think compared to last year, right now, this seems like... I kind of am sitting here thinking, what the fuck are you doing, Blizzard? We had... quest in Ungoro and just like the whole oh shit, like dinosaurs, exploration, and the next thing, Death Knights, the Lich King, like Frozen Throne, and then Kobolds and Catacombs, like legendary weapons, D&D, all this, woo. And now I will say, like, one, the theme of this is cool, but seasonally inappropriate in the US anyway. Like, we're headed into spring, and I'm like, I like this dark and stormy Witchwood thing, but I hope the sun's out and it's a little warmer right now. So that I've got a little bit of a disconnect there, as much as I'm still really into the theme overall. And then just the stuff that they've shown so far, like Echo, we got that with Unstable Evolution, and I really liked that concept when it showed up, but it doesn't feel like strong enough to lead the excitement, to carry the excitement for the expansion. Rush, we've seen that been done before, so it kind of feels a little recycled but turned into a keyword. And then the odd even stuff, I'm glad they didn't support it too far, but I don't find that to be like, oh, this is exciting. I find it to be like an interesting deck building challenge or something to think about, but not exciting. And that's about where I'm at. Like,
right. I think that what they've been doing in the last few sets is they've been dropping these decks or these expansions that they're not all memey, but they all have a hook. Like you're saying, there's quests, or there's Death Knights, or there's, memes. But legendary weapons, I guess, is the last big thing.
Well, and the dungeon run, right?
And the dungeon run. And this is going to have a dungeon run-like thing. But I guess my thought is they've added these things, and in every one of those sets, like Death Knights, pretty much every major decks, except for, I think, Paladin, still runs Death Knights because they're very solid. They're normally just really good cards. And quests were good at the time, but then they nerfed the most powerful ones. And then Ungoro became kind of more of like a core set. Like cards that are good, that people use a lot. And then
Tar Creeper.
Yeah, Tar Creeper. Some of the dinosaurs are really good.
Defender.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, like, if maybe for every 3 expansions, maybe they're like, okay, we're going to make one that's primarily core cards that are functional and are just going to kind of take your decks one step higher. It's not going to necessarily define your decks, but these are going to be very useful cards when you play them. And that's kind of the impression I've got from these cards so far, is they're a lot of really good cards, but they're not like, oh, I'm excited to try to build a deck with that. It's like, oh, well, I can take this card out of this deck and put this new card in.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason that I'm not super excited is that most of the cards that have been revealed so far, even the legendaries and stuff, either seem to recycle a mechanic that we've already seen in some way, or they're directly tied to these new Echo and Rush mechanics, which are themselves recycled. So even the stuff that feels like, whoa, this is a legendary, it should do something crazy, it's like, okay, it does something with Rush, it does something with Echo, or like the Warlock one, oh, okay, it's a bigger Defile. It's too easy to associate the cards that are being released with something that already exists and just go, oh, it's this version of that, as opposed to when you had a legendary quest, you're like, there's nothing like this in the game. Same with DKs, weapons, you had that element of, oh, classes that don't have weapons are getting weapons. Like, that's crazy. And in, this particular set of cards that we've seen so far, there hasn't been anything like that. I would say the closest thing that's come to that has been the odd and even legendaries. But those in themselves, because they're so open-ended, I think it's hard to get excited about them because everyone's kind of waiting. Okay, what's the rest of the set look like so I can think about, those cards fitting into these decks. And it's much more of a puzzle to figure those decks out. So I think it's a lot harder to get excited about them. So I think if in the other 100-something cards we have to see, they start putting out or showing off some of these legendaries maybe, or just some cards that have mechanics that are new or harder to just go, well, this is the B version of A card, then that's when the excitement will start to kick up a little bit.
Yeah. I think that's true. And I don't think that Blizzard or Team 5 would ever say, well, this is the deck that we're going to kind of take a break on, and then we're going to like get back to making more serious,
right.
like innovative expansions. I don't think that they would say that even if it was true. So,
all right. Well, that is the stream. We'll be back sometime, probably Friday. And by that time, we should have another 15 or so cards to review. Then we'll have another, week's worth of reveals and everything. I think we're still looking at about an April 12th release for the expansion. So we'll have a little time in between there. But thanks for joining us on the stream or on YouTube. And we'll see you next time.